Have you got a budget of £150 to £200 to spend on a new pair of headphones? Let's find out if these new headphones from Audio-Technica should be at the top of your shortlist. So we've got our hands on Japanese company Audio-Technica's new truly wireless noise cancelling in-ear headphones, the ATH-CKS50TWs. And what is it with these names? And they retail for a really modest $149.99. And after testing them out over the last week, we've got some thoughts to share. If we take a quick look at the need-to-know information then, these are truly wireless earphones with noise cancellation. They're supplied with a charging base. They're available in this plain black colour, which luckily I do really like, but I have also seen them in blue and cream as well. The earphones themselves are IPX4 rated, so that's good for sweat and water resistance. They've got Bluetooth connectivity 5.2, which is the latest form of Bluetooth at the time of filming this video, and you've got multi-point pairing too. But guys, the best feature about these is the battery life. It's 50 hours, yep, 50 hours, 20 hours from the earbuds, and then an additional 30 hours from the charging case. It really is unbelievable. Now, I don't think I've actually come across a pair of noise cancelling in-ear headphones with that amount of battery life, but let me know if any of you guys have. And as someone who always forgets to recharge tech, this is a big selling point for these. They have also got low latency mode as well, and a great companion app where you can adjust the EQ, change the custom modes and things like that. Now, without further ado, let's show you guys these earphones up close then. So something I noticed straight away was the size of the wireless charger case. Now, the last video I filmed was the new Sony Link Buds, and they came with a really small charging case. So maybe I've been skewed a bit, but these are 100% on the larger size. You can just about get them in your pocket, but they do stick out a bit and they aren't the most convenient. So these are definitely not the most lightweight earphones that I've tested. However, I am happy to report it passes our satisfying click test. Oh yeah. Now the buds themselves are on the larger size, but I'm also happy with the weight of them. They don't feel too heavy in your ears at all. And I wore these for a whole afternoon and I honestly had no complaints. Now there's no fancy materials here. It is mainly plastic, if not all of it, but I guess that is to be expected at this price point. But I don't think they feel or look cheap in any way. Now in terms of fit, you get 4 different size silicone ear tips, and it's provided in this little box. So you get extra small to large. So one small critique that I have about these silicone ear tips is that how long they will last before falling off or showing wear. It is quite a thin material, but it is really comfortable. And the earbuds themselves really do create a seal in your ear, which is great for being immersed in your music and not losing any bass, but you honestly can't hear anything once they're in. Now, I'm not saying that I could have these in all day, but if you're the sort of person like me who likes to switch off from time to time and immerse myself in a good podcast or listen to some music with no distractions, then these really are a great option. Now, if I quickly pass you to our in-house headbanging expert, Sam, aka Jesus, as you can see, they're not budging. So I'd have full confidence doing a workout with these, going cycling, anything active really, and they won't fall out. One thing I perhaps would have liked to add is a wear sensor. So you know when you put them in, it auto resumes your music or pauses when you take them out for a seamless experience. You do have to manually pause your music if you want to talk to someone. Moving on to battery life then, and as I mentioned before, this is one of the best features about these new earphones. 50 hours is just insane, and you can get a good few days out of these without ever needing to pick up your USB-C charging cable. So you get 20 hours from the earbuds themselves and an additional 30 hours from the charging case. I also love the fast charging feature as well. So 10 minutes of charge gives you 90 minutes of playtime, or just leave them charging for 3 hours and they'll be at 100%. You really can't go wrong with these stats, and if a long battery life is important to you, then these should be high up on your shortlist, as I can't remember the last time I've come across a pair of earphones with a total of 50 hours battery life. Now, as I mentioned, there is a handy app to use with these headphones as well, where you can adjust the EQ and noise cancellation, as well as a few other bits and pieces. Now, overall, it's a really handy companion app. I want to highlight the low latency mode as well, which is great if you're using these with live content like games or watching videos on your smartphone. It keeps the audio delay to an absolute minimum. A great use that I can think of with this mode enabled would be if you're maybe gaming late at night and you don't want to wake up anyone in your home, get the audio through the earphones and Bob's your uncle. On the whole, the low latency mode works really well for me in testing. Now, another benefit of these is Bluetooth 5.2, which is the latest form of Bluetooth, and it's nice to see on a new pair of earphones. Bluetooth 5.2 is reported to give you about 240 meters range, and while you certainly won't need that, it's nice to have.
Right then guys, so as you can see, we're doing a quick range test for you all. I've got one of the Audio-Technicas in. Now Jonathan has got my phone, he's on Spotify all the way at the other end of the rugby field, and they're still going strong. So I think we're easily at 230, 240 meters now, and they are still working really well. Okay guys, I think we've literally just found the limit. These are not playing any longer, but if I spin you around, Jonathan is now behind those trees all the way down over there. So this is now at least 2 rugby pitches and some. That's pretty impressive.
But I'm more interested in the fact that Bluetooth 5.2 doesn't drain your battery quite as much, and it has the lowest compression of your music that is possible currently from Bluetooth. So a big tick in the box there for Audio-Technica. And yes, you also get multi-point pairing, which is not always a given. So you can have them connected to both your laptop and your phone. So if you're working on your laptop, but then controlling the music through your phone, you can still hear the sounds of your laptop through the earbuds. Right then guys, I really want to move on to sound quality, and I'm sure you do as well. So you get 9mm bass drivers in here, which is no joke for an in-ear headphone, and a step up in size from, say, the renowned B&O EQs, which have 6.88mm drivers. And it's why the bass is at the forefront of the default settings. Now I'm really sorry guys, I can't show you the sound quality of these through our binaural microphone, unfortunately, as they don't stay in the ears, but I can give you my thoughts from testing them thoroughly this week. So I've mentioned the bass, which is great, but what about everything else? In terms of vocals, I would say that that's the weakest element of these headphones. Now, don't get me wrong, they're not by any means poor, but I sometimes feel the vocals fade into the background and they're overpowered by the bass and the mid-range a little bit. And this is the same case for the higher frequencies, but because I listen to a lot of electronic music, house, dance, that sort of thing that's not particularly vocal heavy, these suit my listening requirements completely. Now, for those of you who listen to a wider range of music, luckily we have the Audio-Technica Connect app where you can adjust your listening mode. So you can see here we have original, bass boost, clear vocal, V-shaped and treble enhance. But for example, on the clear vocal mode, it did enhance the vocals to the detriment of the bass. So I've just been listening on original mainly, as this gives you the best balance of everything. If you want to adjust the individual frequencies and you know what you're doing with that, then feel free to experiment here. So I will come back to the app in a bit as well. On the whole, I'm really happy with the sound performance of these headphones, especially in the context of their price point. I think you get really good value for money in this department, and is why I actually think that Audio-Technica is one of the best value brands overall. So let's move on to the noise cancelling abilities, which again is a big strength of these earphones. I tried these out in our office where there's all manner of noises, from boiling of the kettle, the typing of keyboards, general chit chat, and we've even had people drilling recently, and I honestly could not hear a thing in the background. I also took these to a busy junction with lots of traffic, and again, couldn't hear a thing. And I'm aware this could be a little bit of a bad thing as well, due to not being in touch with your surroundings, and raises a safety concern, which is why this brings me on nicely to the hear-through setting, which is basically their version of ambient pass-through. And again, I had no complaints with this at all. I could still hear conversations, but I was still really tuned into my music. It's great to have both modes available, and it is a nice touch that you can turn on or off the noise cancelling and hear-through settings by holding down this little button on either the left or the right earbud for 1 second. And oh yeah, I almost forgot, you can use this button for playing, pausing, skipping track, previous track, and turning up and down the volume as well. And yes, it does take a bit of learning how many taps does what and how long to hold down the button for, but quite honestly, it doesn't take long to get used to it. And for me, I quite like the tactile feedback from the button. Now, there are also microphones built into the earbuds as well, so you're able to make and take calls. Now, we tested this out by giving my colleague a call while I was outside with lots of background noise, and the general consensus was that it sounded like I was talking through my phone, not through a pair of headphones, which is as good as you can ask for, I guess. So, big tick in the call quality department for us. So what are the 3 things I love about the ATH-CKS50TW earphones then? Well, number 1, a thing I love is obviously the battery life. It's up there with the market leaders. You almost don't need to worry about whether you're going to have enough charge for a last-minute trip. Another thing I love is the overall sound quality, but specifically the bass response. And for a pair of in-ear headphones for $149, I really don't think you're going to get any better than this. And lastly, the noise cancelling has been expertly refined and it works really, really well. Three things I perhaps don't love is the vocals and the higher frequencies. They're not quite as sharp as they could be, but don't let this put you off. They still perform great in this price range. Another thing I don't love is the size of the charging case. It's not obviously going to be convenient for everybody. And lastly, the build quality is not amazing, particularly the silicone ear tips. They don't give me lots of confidence. And side note, the name could be more catchy, Audio-Technica, come on. So a big question is, would I replace my AirPods 3rd gen with these then? Now, the easy option, I guess, would be for you to go straight to the AirPods 3, but I really feel these new Audio-Technica earphones need some serious consideration. If you don't have anything Apple or you need that longer battery life, considering the AirPods Gen 3 have 6 hours battery life, then these are probably tipping it for you. Let's not forget the Audio-Technicas are also £20 cheaper than the AirPods. So I would say give these a go if bass is important to you. Personally, as I'm very heavily invested in the Apple ecosystem, I'm sure I sound like an Apple fanboy there, the AirPods are just ahead for me at the moment, just. Although I have to admit, I do have a bit of FOMO for these Audio-Technicas though, when listening to a good electronic album such as Ben Böhmer. If you've got a budget of around £150 to £200, then these really should be right at the top of your list. Hats off to Audio-Technica here. Let me know your thoughts on these, and if you've picked up a pair, share your experience for the community. Catch you next time.